Today I'm going to show you a few gardening hacks from my kitchen. I lost my potting shed there in last autumn when we rescued a little foal and I got hoofed out of the garden shed. So now all my work happens in the kitchen until the polytunnel is up and running. When I first started growing my own veg, I found it quite daunting that I was going to have to go out and buy a whole heap of stuff to get growing. But it doesn't have to be that way. One of the other things I do is I work as a Voice Island recycling ambassador, and I'm often advising people of all the stuff that can go in their recycle bins. But in actual fact, most of it we can use in our gardens as well to help us get going with the seeds. So we'll just start off. I basically emptied my recycle bin, and I'm just going to talk you through some of the things that you can use to help you start with your seed growing. So, first of all, I suppose the important thing really, this often catches out a lot of my community groups. It's not a box of Quality Street. I keep my seeds in it. And again, I have another tin here. It's just an old metal container, and all my seeds are inside. And they're divided into months, and that helps me figure out when I need to sow things. If you can keep your seeds in an airtight container, somewhere cool, they'll last a lot longer. First hack. Then we move on to the actual pots. Now, you might have collected some of these. If you buy herbs like this from supermarkets, you might have a stash of these. Perfect. Try and make sure they're clean and dry, or not necessarily dry, but clean. Horticulturally, we're meant to sterilise all our pots, but not many gardeners do that I'm aware of. But just keeping them clean. I'll often put those in a bath of water with some soapy suds, give them an old wash out, nice and clean, ready to go. If you haven't got those types of containers, we can revert to the recycling. So, yoghurt pots. These have all had, everything here that I'm showing you has had food growing in it, so there's nothing particularly dangerous. This is actually quite a solid yoghurt pot. And I've made some holes in it. And the way I've done that is I've got a metal skewer, heated it up over on my gas ring here until it's super hot, and then in the bottom. And now I have some holes. Once I have drainage, then I can work away, fill it with compost, and it's ready to sow seeds in. Now, if you just put that on a windowsill, as soon as you water it, all the water's going to come out. So this is where your mushroom containers come in handy. And if you notice there, in actual fact, perfect size. We could have a whole row of them. And much, much easier to water and look after. In terms of watering, you might have a watering can handy, but if you haven't, another kitchen hack I have is milk container. Again, using my skewer, I've rinsed this out, made some holes in the lid, fill with water, on it goes, water away. Or if you don't have that, one of my favourite ways actually is to use an old coffee cup or a coffee jar or a teapot. Sometimes if you've had a nice teapot that's had lovely design, or it might have a nice memory for you, then don't throw it away. If it's chipped, hang on to it and you can water your plants with it. And you get usually a nice steady flow. As I said, the water now is coming out. I'll be talking about compost and watering in another video. For now, we're just looking at what you grow into. And you can see the water's starting to drip out. You know then that you have enough water in there. Another one I have here is, some of this stuff was gifted to me actually. I've been doing a few workshops recently, and people have been bringing me in their recycling to use or to show examples of. So here we have some coffee tins, and again it's food grade. You could use baked bean tins or bean tins of any kind, but you need the holes in it. My husband lent me my husband, Mr. G, I refer to him on the blog, Mr. Greenside Up. He does all the handy stuff. This is his one and only bradawl, but it's really handy for, I'm going to make a bit of noise now, making some holes in the bottom, drainage, and again, fill it up with compost, and away you go. Some of you might be clearing out your cupboards at this time of year, or whoops, Daisy, with nothing, wondering what to do with yourselves. So we had a heap of old pots like this in the plastic press, and they were going to go in the recycling, but I grabbed them because I thought again they'd be very handy for keeping the pots in on the windowsills. You don't want to lose any of your paint while you've got all the seedlings going. So very handy there. I could as well, actually, this is quite thick. Here's another Tupperware type container, but it's lost its lid and it's chipped at the corner, so that was headed off for recycling, but I grabbed it. If I can make holes in it, I could plant directly into the bottom, but it's much more effective for me in this instant for toilet rolls. So you might have seen a few videos of people using toilet rolls. They're great for growing pea and bean seeds in. I store them like this, so as soon as we've finished one up, in it goes, and it just keeps them, it's much easier to store them when they're all wrapped up. And when you take them out of there, they're already folded into a kind of square shape, like that, and they sit better in my mushroom container or in my Tupperware pot. So once I have them, so nothing in the bottom, we could in actual fact just fold these in the bottom, or I could snip the bottoms like this. I've done it either way actually, where you can either just have them straight in the container, or you can just fold in the bottoms, and it just keeps the compost in a bit better. So there you can see, I hope. That's a bit more sealed. And then using a kind of doctored milk container, again, it can help me just feed the compost into these toilet rolls so it doesn't fill up everywhere else, which can happen. And again, there you go, just work away until they're all full. We usually leave about, jeepers, maybe about a centimetre or half a centimetre gap at the top when we're filling up these containers, because we want to allow space for the, if the water, when we're watering, we don't want it all to flood over. So if we leave a little bit of a gap at the top, what generally happens is that you water and the compost will sink down. What else do I have here? Big boxes. So again, very handy. The beauty with these is that you can, and again, there's my skewer. So really, if you notice, all I'm really using here is compost and a meat skewer are my main actual tools. If you haven't got a bradawl, actually, you can use a hammer and nail or a drill. Just be very careful either way, because sometimes it's quite tough. So I've made a little bit of a hole in my box. Drainage is very important. Plants need oxygen, and if you have no drainage and you fill it with water, the seeds or the plants will eventually drown. More plants are killed through incorrect watering than anything else. So there you can see I've filled it with compost. I can plant a little seedling in there, a little seed in there, and then when it grows, I can just cut it or break it off like this with some scissors, and I can plant that whole thing without disturbing the roots. Likewise for these toilet roll holders. Beans and peas in particular don't like their roots being overly disturbed. So if you plant a pea seed in here or a bean in here, then you just plant the whole toilet tube when you're coming on to pot it on into a bigger pot or out into the garden. Finally, I think I'm going to finish off with this little trick just to give you, there's a few more things, I've got bits and pieces. Coffee stirring sticks, I here, coffee cups, once you make some holes in the bottom, they'll be fine to go. The stirrers are handy, or lollipop sticks. You can buy lollipop sticks in art shops, or even actually go out and get a bit of twig and rub off the bark, and you can write on that and just put the name of the seedling that you've got going in there. Any kinds of just food trays. Again, these haven't got holes in, so they're ideal for putting little things like this into. Or you can make holes in them and plant directly in. This one here, we had a bit of a run on meringues here. I don't know why, because we've got eggs galore with all the chickens, but anyway, we started to buy a few meringues. We found that they're very low calorie and we're trying to get a bit fitter. But these make really handy little mini propagators. So again, with the skewer, make a hole in the bottom, fill with compost. You could start your tomato seedlings off at this. Tomato seedlings need a little bit of heat. You can start them any time, kind of really between January and March. Just pop a seedling in here. I'll be showing you how to do that soon. And then water well, close the lid. Take off the label, get some light in there. So now you've got some heat and some light. Once you start to see the seedling popping up, you can open the lid and just prop it open, and that helps to keep it a little bit warmer. I said I would just finish off with a little bit of planting, just so it's not all about waste. This is an old drink bottle, and I've cut the lid off. I'm trying to find the top, there it is. So that's what it was like. I've cut it off. The bottom now has water in it, and at the moment the top is empty. I'm just going to tear off a little bit of kitchen roll here and put it in the bottom here, just to fill up, just to kind of plug that hole, but without sealing it. Now, if I'd got the lid, I could leave the lid on and make holes in the lid, but I've lost the lid. I'm going to put a little bit of compost in the bottom, and I'm just going to show you, this was a parsley part that was bought in a shop a while ago, and we actually got it, I was using it to demonstrate in a classroom. We split them and we potted them into new pots. Now, I often forget to water plants indoors, and this is just a self-watering technique. So I've just planted it in there like that. I'm now going to fill in the edges with the compost, and a bit rough and ready here, but, and there we have it. So now the idea is that the bottom of this is in the water, and it just takes up enough water as it needs it, and it will keep it permanently at the right water level. So there's Mr. Parsley Head. You might find it wilts slightly after doing something like that, but then it will perk up in the next day or two. And all you've got to remember then is to keep it watered in the bottom. Really handy if you're going away for a weekend or on holidays to do that. So I hope you found that helpful. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, or if you've got any suggestions of videos that I can do, leave a comment below please, or head over to greensideup.ie. On the blog, I have a blog post about a few ideas of different things you can use for using wasted materials, if you like, to help you with your veg growing. Thanks very much.